Hi, my loves. How are we doing? All right. On this one, I really want to go over what is the purpose of being a divine feminine on the twin flame journey, okay? And really for this video, I really want this to be a motivator for you guys. And again, when I say divine feminines, because I've gotten questions and DMs this past couple days, gender does not matter. I got to make that clear, okay? It's all about what kind of energy are you embodying in the twin flame journey. Are you considered the chaser, the runner, that whole 9 yards? With this video, I really want to focus on the divine feminines as far as, again, what is your purpose as a divine feminine? You don't want to be the feminine. You want to be a divine feminine. And also to kind of recognize, to know if you are on your way towards the divine feminine or if you're already there. And that's, of course, when union hits. But again, I directly want to talk about you as far as what is your purpose. I will add this video also in my playlist also as well. I labeled it Twin Flame Info, okay? And it's just more, again, I've talked about yesterday and a few days ago what a karmic relationship is, twin flame, journey is. And yes, I will upload a video about, what is a soulmate journey or what, describe more as far as a soul tie. I will get back with that in about a few more days. I will upload a reading tomorrow. I've just been dealing with a lot due to Thanksgiving plans. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, by the way. I hope everybody is doing okay and you spent time with your loved ones today. But, again, so I will say this. We already know the whole point of a twin flame journey. It's because, especially for the feminines, you've been avoiding your own, personal or internal conflicts in your own right. Therefore, that is why your person is running from you, because you're running away from yourself, okay? Number one thing I put is stop avoiding, your shadow, your traumas, start a healing journey, because this is what this is. It's a healing journey, not just about longing for your person, okay? Because what has happened all this time? So usually traumas start, again, from usually activation of 4 years old all the way up to 8 years old on an average, okay? Your whole life, okay, you've been shown face to face, okay, you need to work on this. And feminines, you've been doing this, now I'll deal with it later. No, okay, now you need to work on this, now I'll deal with it later. You need to really work on this. No, that's too much for me, I'll deal with it later. Boom, that's when your twin shows up in your life. Same thing with your person. They've been doing that, nonsense their whole life in their own right, and that's when the two of you meet. That's when source releases the both of you towards you, is because you're coming face to face with your shadow. Because like I discussed in my previous videos, twins, you're truly a reflection of yourselves, okay? So that is the purpose of, one purpose of a divine feminine journey is stop avoiding conflict, stop avoiding your shadow work. You need to face it head on. And that's why this journey, guys, it's so freaking brutal. But here's point number 2. You tolerate, to be a true divine feminine, you put up with nothing. Not including your twin. You put, and I'm not talking, I'm done with my twin, I'm ignoring him for 2. No, you put up with nothing. You don't put up with, excuse my French, shitty family members. You don't put up with that job that you dread, or that crappy boss that has been on your tail for no reason and has been harassing you. You put up with no friends who have been gossiping about you. You don't put up with your twin, and especially you don't put up with your own self. You put up with no behavior. So in the nicest way, if you're at a space where you're still allowing certain things to be slid under the rug or giving weird excuses towards things or people, there's still, in, again, nice way, there's still some work that needs to be done. You put up with nothing that makes you feel less than what you deserve. It reminds me of the movie X. It's a horror movie, but there's a scene in the end, it's kind of a brutal movie, but she goes, I will not put up with a life less than what I don't deserve. And that is a divine feminine. You put up with nothing, not your twin. Now I'm talking about bad behavior. You don't put up with family, friends, that crappy job. You don't put up with your cat shitting on your rug. You put up with nothing, and you conquer those problems head on. And what I mean of don't put up with anything or conquer, I'm not saying choose violence. That is not what I'm saying. A true divine feminine moves with power and with grace. I've seen a couple different scenarios. Either A, walk away. So for example, if you're the type to nah at people and be very aggressive, maybe that's a lesson to take the high road. It's not worth your time. Or the opposite, if you're a feminine that's been when people are very, nasty, learn to stand up for yourself. That is true divine power. Okay, you put up with nothing. It will truly mold you. And a lot of times I see divine feminines that are very or if some, for example, I'm using a female. If a female's being snarky, making fun of you for the way you look, if your whole life you've been like, no, divine feminine, you're going to tell that girl to shove it, in her subtle way. Or if you are, again, if you're a divine feminine that naturally, maybe gets a nice way too aggressive or too fists up, learn to walk away. Okay, that is true divine feminine power. Now this is going to be the other one I'm about to get into. Okay, mission work. And I discussed this in my last twin flame, journey videos on what is your purpose here on this earth. Everybody's divine feminine journeys is completely different as far as mission work. What is your purpose here on this earth? That part, and sorry, that's your own path to kind of discover, and only you can truly answer that, okay? But the whole point of mission work, okay, what is that? When you come into union with your twin. Now, and I always hear this part, well, what's the point of unions for twins? What's after that? Twin flames, you both show this world unconditional love. You show this world what pain is, unfortunately. And not that you cause pain, but unfortunately describe what pain is. Because why? Because you've been through it even before your twin. And you show them power, and you show these people patience. Let me give you a quick scenario on what a true divine feminine will handle. So I want you to imagine this in your head. You're at your job, okay? With or without your twin in your life, I don't care. You're in your divine feminine power, okay? For example, you're at your job, and I'm going to use a girl. You work with this girl, okay? She's really nice, she does her job. She doesn't bother anybody. You like her. And all of a sudden one day, and she's always very sweet, okay? Always has a good, chippery, personality. And one day she comes into work, and she's devastated. She is beaten down. She is, getting herself all worked up. She is sick to her stomach. She's bawling her eyes out and trying to lift herself up. Why? Because she's at work. Now, majority of people on this earth would have pat her on the head and said, you'll live, or you'll get over them. A divine feminine, you're going to go up to that girl. You're going to be like, get up. You're going to hug her, however you handle it. And you're going to teach this girl her self-worth. For example, if this girl's explained to you, oh, my boyfriend cheated on me, he fell in love with somebody else. No, you're going to sit there and you're going to teach this girl her self-worth. And you're also going to teach her about this pain I talked about, of go through that pain. I need you to walk right through it. Because the amount of people on this earth that avoid pain or avoid heartbreak or avoid traumas, because that's what the twin flame journey has taught you, divine feminine, to not avoid. Okay, that is your purpose. Don't you want to be that for somebody? Because by the end of the day, and my biggest pet peeve is I hate that when I see somebody go through heartbreak, for example, like a breakup, and somebody's like, oh, get over it. That's traumatic for some people. You don't know, again, example, this girl, what she's been through. You don't know if she's been abandoned her whole life. You don't know if she's ever had that speech of someone coming up to her and saying, you are so beautiful and you deserve so much better. Why are you putting up with a rat? That is the purpose of a divine feminine, okay? Or another example, your next door neighbor who's sweet and he's stressing out on his porch because, God forbid, he got laid off of his job. You can't take their pain away. You can't solve their problems for them, but don't you want to be that sense of empowerment for somebody? Because you did it for you. You did it for yourself. And in a lot of ways, yes, mission work, you are servants to this universe, for whoever you believe in. You are being taught during this twin flame journey to go empower these people, because all this world has taught people for centuries is how to be broken. And that is why twin flame journeys are so rare, because majority of this people love to sit in broken. How many times have you went through your TikTok page and you've seen videos of a man being treated wrong in a relationship or another woman being treated wrong? Doesn't that piss you off? Don't you want to go save them? You can't save them, but doesn't it? That's a divine feminine. So I want this video to empower you, to show you that yes, you work on your self-worth, but it is what is meant to, you are meant to teach other people that. I hope this video helped. I love you guys, and get up and show these people who you really are.